is Y News with Angelo Castro III, William Theo, and Darlene Basingan.
The National Capital Region Police Office has launched today a fundraising project in hope to collect at least 1 million pesos. Joanano tells us why.
The National Capital Region Police Office targets to collect 1 million pesos through selling of t-shirts and baller IDs with a print stating Team NCRPO supports peace in Marawi. The said project aims to show the support of the Philippine National Police for its troops who are fighting off terrorist groups to achieve peace in Mindanao. The money collected from the fundraising project will be sent to cops and soldiers as well as affected civilians in the war-torn Marawi City.
Pinalabas ng mga t-shirts kanina. Yung proceeds nito, ipapadala natin sa Marawi para tulong na rin sa ating mga kababayan doon.
The t-shirts and baller IDs can be bought from the NCRPO headquarters in Taguig City. NCRPO also plans to sell it online. Aside from the mentioned items, the NCRPO has also put up coin banks in various police stations for cops who would like to give donations.
Makikita nyo sa mga different police stations down to the PCP level, meron tayong parang lalagyan ng tubig. Lalagyan ng tubig, merong markings doon, yung mga donations. Voluntary donations from our PNP personnel.
The collected amount will be immediately sent to their colleagues in Marawi City. Meanwhile, the NCRPO and leaders of various Muslim communities in NCR have signed an agreement. It states the support of Muslim communities in maintaining peace in Metro Manila. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.
Senator J.V. Ejercito says he will ask the Senate to conduct a security briefing on the situation in Mindanao in case the military proposes the extension of martial law in Mindanao. Nel Maribuhok tells us why.
In the program Get It Straight with Daniel Razon, Senator J.V. Ejercito says he might opt to support for the extension of the military rule in Mindanao, but adds that he would like to have a security briefing from the armed forces of the Philippines and defense officials regarding the situation in Mindanao.
Most likely, pero ang gusto ko muna, ang proposal ko sa ating Senate leadership ay mag-request sa AFP at sa PNP officials for another security briefing para mas maintindihan namin kung ano yung nangyayari ngayon sa ground para naman hindi kami basta-basta na mag-approve.
The crisis in Marawi City has now entered its 48th day. The 60-day period of martial law in Mindanao will end on July 22. Some senators expect the proposal for its extension before the State of the Nation address of President Duterte on July 24. For its part, the AFP says it is still studying the possibility of extending martial law and will submit its recommendation on the matter in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, amid the clashes between government troops and the ISIS-inspired Maute group, the senator calls on critics to stop politicizing the issue.
Ganun nga ang kanilang intention, to establish a caliphate or an ISIS state, for Southeast Asia. So, pag ganun na labanan, dapat kinakalimutan natin yung politika. We should rally behind the leader.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Bangsamoro Transition Commission, or BTC, is confident that the new draft of the Bangsamoro Basic Law will be submitted to President Rodrigo Duterte and Congress this month. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
The Bangsamoro Transition Commission, or BTC, continues to finalize several provisions of the new draft of the Bangsamoro Basic Law. BTC member Attorney Jose Lorena says they have to ensure that the draft BBL is comprehensive so it won't be questioned. Lorena is in Zamboanga City to attend a forum on radicalism and extremism, forms of ideologies that affect the peace process in Mindanao.
That is why we fast-track the crafting of the law in order that we will be able to put into a legal perspective the articulation of the Bangsamoro.
The draft BBL is expected to be submitted to President Rodrigo Duterte and the lower house of Congress this month. Attorney Lorena also clarifies that the ongoing crisis in Marawi and the turmoil caused by other lawless elements in Mindanao will not affect the peace process.
We have to provide a favorable environment, and therefore we must have a very good fundamentals. We should have a good governance framework in the Muslim areas.
The BTC believes the establishment of a Bangsamoro government will help in achieving long-lasting peace in the southern Philippines. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC reports an initial worth of damage in earthquake-torn Leyte amounting to 51.7 million pesos. Rajel Adora tells us why.
NDRRMC has confirmed a total of 1,700 houses affected by the 6.5 magnitude earthquake in Leyte. 700 of this number are totally damaged and are mostly from Ormoc City. Based on the initial assessment, the damage of the earthquake is now at 51.7 million pesos. 14 roads and 10 bridges have also been affected, but they are still passable by motorists. Meanwhile, 73 families in Cananga, Leyte have evacuated due to the possible landslide. NDRRMC spokesperson Romina Marasigan says the government gave an initial support of almost 3 million pesos for the families affected.
Through our local government, tayo ay nagbibigay ng ayuda sa kanila, mga pagkain, gamot at tubig para lang masiguro natin na yung needs naman nila ay provided for by the government.
Fatalities remain at 2, while the number of injuries has gone up to 329.
Kapag may malakas na pagyanig po, huwag na natin pilitin tumakbo. Talagang ang kailangan gawin natin, duck, cover and hold. Protektahan ang sarili. Yung mga injuries na natala natin dahil sa malakas na pagyanig, ito yung mga pumilit tumakbo.
Marasigan reminds the residents in the affected areas to take extra care due to continuous aftershocks, one of which happened this morning in Ormoc City at 5.8 magnitude.
Kaninang umaga, nakapagtala na tayo ng halos 500 na aftershocks. So talagang maaaring maging peligroso ito. Baka yung mga unang ground shaking, nagkaroon na ng damage dahil sa sunod-sunod na aftershock.
The NDRRMC hopes that the electricity in the affected areas will be restored next week. Rajel Adora, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Several students ran in panic while others lost consciousness in Ormoc City this morning. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
A magnitude 5.8 aftershock was felt in Ormoc City at 9:41 a.m. as well as in other parts of Visayas. Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology Director Araneta Coliseum said it was the strongest aftershock recorded after the magnitude 6.5 earthquake that hit the region last Thursday afternoon. The center of the quake was recorded at 15 km northwest of Ormoc and has a depth of 6 kilometers. In Leyte, intensity 6 was felt in Ormoc City, intensity 5 in Cananga, intensity 4 in Mayorga and Tacloban, as well as Mandaue City, Cebu. 2 aftershocks with magnitude of 3.3 and 3.2 were also recorded after the earthquake. Director Solidum says several residents were injured due to the earthquake.
Marami pong na-injure dahil tumakbo sila habang nagsishake and immediately after without following the rules. So, importante po yung drill. Drop, cover, and hold muna habang lumilindol and then saka lumabas.
Some students of Ormoc City National High School panicked due to the tremors. Some have experienced difficulty in breathing, while some lost consciousness due to intense fear. Teachers immediately calmed them down and given medical attention by rescue teams. Classes have been suspended at all levels in Ormoc and Tacloban City. In Ormoc Doctors Hospital, doctors and nurses brought the patients out of the hospital building following the aftershock. Director Solidum says residents should be prepared as more aftershocks are expected to come in the following days.
We expect aftershocks to continue for several days and kahit next week pa meron pa. Hindi po yan nauubos, from time to time, may susulpot na mararamdaman.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Next on Y News. The PNP Anti-Kidnapping Group reports a decline in incidents of kidnapping and kidnap for ransom cases in the country.
The Bureau of Animal Industry to recommend a ban on pork and chicken meat importation from Brazil due to contamination.
Over Overseas Filipino workers may avail their OFW card starting Wednesday for faster processing of documents and other privileges.
Y News, we'll be right back. The Bureau of Animal Industry will recommend a ban on the importation of beef and chicken meat from Brazil. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Almost 500 kilograms of beef and chicken meat were tested positive of Salmonella bacteria. The meat products were part of the 18 shipments from Brazil that arrived between May 10 to June 20 this year. The Bureau of Animal Industry, or BAI, revealed that the shipments were already delivered to local meat processors before the result of the laboratory test was released. But the agency explains the bacteria will eventually die upon cooking or when processed.
It's a food poisoning that will cause yung pagda-diarrhea, pero hindi naman siya ganun ka-fatal.
Thus, BAI will recommend to Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol to ban the importation of beef and chicken from Brazil while the National Meat Inspection Service inspects all arriving shipments. For their part, importers said the ban will affect fast food chains. Also, the prices of canned and processed meat will spike, such as hot dogs that use beef and chicken. They said BAI inspections should adhere with international guidelines.
Within 500,000 to 5 million population of the bacteria, that meat is considered fit for human consumption.
Meanwhile, the price of pork in the markets remains at 240 pesos per kilogram, while chicken is at 150. Vendors say even if they buy meat at a higher price from dealers, they cannot sell them at a higher price because they consider the capacity of their customers.
Kasi yung daw kinakain ng baboy mahal. Ganun pa rin po kasi ayaw namin magtaas kasi yung mga buyer po nabibigla.
BAI said the price of pork should go down because the farm gate price is now lower.
Bumaba na ang farm gate price, umabot ng 140 ngayon 130 na lang. So, maaaring sinasamantala ba ito ng mga ahente at saka mga retailer.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Senator urges an intensified monitoring of garlic traders who applied for import permits in the country. Nel Maribohok explains why.
Senate Committee on Agriculture and Food Chair Senator Cynthia Villar urges the government to watch closely all importers or traders of garlic who possibly manipulate the supply in the market.
Pine-penalize yung humihingi ng import permit tapos hindi idadating kasi it destroys the law of supply and demand. Posible na yung mga importers, sila yung they make sure na hindi mag-increase ang production para sila na lang yung magsusupply, di ba?
Based on the report of the Department of Agriculture, a total of 57,000 metric tons of garlic were given import permits in November 2016. However, only 12,000 metric tons arrived this year. But the Bureau of Plant and Industry, or BPI, argues that there was likely a problem in productions of garlic from China.
At that time, walang masyadong dumating. Ang reason kasi is naapektuhan din ng China daw ng climate change. So bumaba din ang production nila.
According to BPI, the country is import dependent when it comes to garlic. 80% of importation comes from China and the remaining 20% comes from India. In connection with this, Senator J.V. Ercito wants stiffer penalties against smugglers who directly affect the farmers.
Kapag may pumapasok na smuggled goods, yun na lang pong binibenta. Ang nawawala ng kita ang ating mga local farmers. So, naisip ko yun, inintroduce ko Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Act na consider it as economic sabotage and therefore a heinous crime.
In 2014, the price of garlic spiked to 200 up to 300 pesos per kilogram in the market, which prompted the Senate to investigate the sudden increase in price of garlic in the country. Currently, the normal price of garlic is from 80 to 100 pesos only. Senator Villar called on the Agriculture Department to focus on how to help garlic farmers in their production so that the country will become self-sufficient and will no longer depend on importation. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Newly appointed Dangerous Drugs Board Chairman Dionisio Santiago vows to focus on rehabilitation of more than 1 million drug surrenders in the country. Grace Casin explains why.
As the new chairman of the Dangerous Drugs Board, Director Junicio Santiago is planning to urge local government units to give drug dependents a livelihood source to help them do away with criminal acts.
Pinangahanap buhay nila yung droga. So you have to find alternative source of income for them para hindi sila mag-stick sa droga. Miski yung iba dyan, natukhang bumalik.
Santiago also believes that government should help marginalized people to enter a rehabilitation program. He also wants to reform the approach of rehab centers to make them more effective.
Semi-military ang gagawin ko dyan na DOH is there pero mababait siya mga doktor eh. Gawan mo ng parang playbook, barracks na hindi na makapag-isip, makapagloko dahil busy sila sa lahat ng physical and mental activities.
The new DDB chairman also warns his employees to do their job well because he vows to impose sanctions.
Nakikialam pero yung trabaho niya hindi nagagawa. Pinapakailaman lahat ng trabaho pero yung sa kanya. Sa akin hindi po pwede yun. Susumahin kita. Titirahin kita sa civil service.
Presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella made mention that Santiago is a big help in the government's war against drugs, being a former chairman of PIDEA. Santiago replaced former DDB chairman Benjamin Reyes, who was fired by President Duterte for representing different data on the number of drug users in the country that contradicted the government's statistics. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine National Police Anti-Kidnapping Group and Movement for Restoration of Peace and Order mark a significant decline in the number of kidnapping incidents in the country. Monokson tells us why.
Teresita Angsi, chairperson of the Movement for Restoration of Peace and Order, revealed that they have not recorded any incident of kidnapping for the last 2 months. The group concludes that incidents of kidnapping in the country indeed have declined under the Duterte administration. This record is a big improvement as compared to the previous years wherein the number of kidnapping cases is high. In the past, they recorded at least 2 kidnapping cases in a span of 1 week.
Hindi madalas mangyari yon na 2 months kami na 0 kidnapping case, no? So far, itong 2 buwan na ito, talagang nag-0, no? Wala kaming bagong tinututukan na kaso.
The PNP Anti-Kidnapping Group also recorded reduction in kidnap for ransom cases. The police unit said they have recorded 9 kidnap for ransom cases from January this year up to present.
Wala po tayong masyadong na-record ngayon na kidnap for ransom cases by terrorist threat groups at saka yung ating tinatawag na organized crime groups and criminal gangs.
The decline in number is due to the intensified campaign of the PNP and the public to fight kidnapping in the country. This includes a number of free seminars to educate the public on safety measures against kidnapping. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
And a former national security advisor expresses concern over the country's status in the West Philippine Sea 1 year after the United Nations Arbitral Tribunal issued its decision in favor of the Philippines. Maki Libradilla explains why.
Kasi hindi tayo kumilos eh. Why would EU? EU already expressed support. Kaya lang na makita nila na hindi tayo kumikilos, bakit tayo pangungunahan ng EU?
This is the statement of former National Security Advisor Roy Logoles 1 year after the decision of the UN Arbitral Tribunal. Goles fears that President Duterte's silence regarding the country's claim to the territory may render China's ownership in the group of islands in the West Philippine Sea legit. Goles also insists that China showed being cunning on the issue. It can be recalled that in the past, China did not agree to the crafting of a code of conduct among ASEAN countries that may prohibit the members from building infrastructures in the disputed territory. But now that China has established its own infrastructure in this Spratlys, it is now pushing for a code of conduct. That's why Goles strongly opposes the exploration of China in Benham rice or Philippine rice.
Mga sama na nga ang record, inaagawan na tayo, papapasukin pa natin. Ano ba naman yan?
Meanwhile, Magdalo Representative Gary Alejano advises the administration to be wary of the assistance that China is giving to the country.
We should engage with them economically
Pero let us be careful about that kasi may long-term implications sa atin yan.
On the other hand, Ambassador Alberto Encomienda says diplomacy and trying to bring China to the negotiation table is the key to end the long-standing issue in the West Philippine Sea.
It's the only way. The point there is when you go into international relations, not everything can be settled rules-based. That's why there is such a term as political solution.
Maki Libradilla, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
20 government officials were given a chance to study in Japan this year. Leslie Longbowen will tell us why.
The National Economic Development Authority recognizes the role that the human capital plays in accomplishing government projects. That's why the agency believes that learning opportunity of Filipinos abroad, especially in technologically advanced countries like Japan, will be of big help.
We hope that through the signing of the new grant agreement for the JDS project, we will be able to further strengthen our institutions by producing highly skilled graduates capable of making immediate positive impact in the respective agencies.
This morning, Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA has signed a 264 million yen or 117 million peso Japanese grant for Human Resource Development Scholarship or JDS with NEDA. The grant aims to help build the capacity and skills of young Filipino leaders and let them share what they've learned for the country's development. This year, 20 government officials will have the opportunity to take postgraduate courses in some of Japan's top universities, including International University of Japan, Kobe University, Meiji University, and Nagoya University, among others. Meanwhile, JICA boasts of its Filipino scholars who now hold key positions in the government and already made contributions in their agencies. JICA also hopes to mutually benefit from the Philippines through learning also from the country's scholars.
We really hope that JDS scholars will learn not only their area of studies but also Japan's economic development experiences. Japan also hopes to learn from the Philippines' development experiences through this exchange of knowledge.
To date, 259 Filipinos have benefited from JDS. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasig City.
Filipinos working abroad will no longer need to fall in line and wait for the processing of their overseas employment certificates beginning on Wednesday. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
Starting July 12, the Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE will launch the OFW ID card with its partner agencies like SSS, DBP, PhilPost, among others. OFWs can avail of the ID cards for free. They just need to go to POEA's website to fill up the necessary information.
Was also supposed to automate ng OAC. So, ang ating OFWs, yung paalis na or yung paalis or aplikante, they could just go to the website ng POEA, ipiprint ng OFW ng POEA ang ID, and then ipadadala ito sa kanyang address.
Overseas workers will not need to pay for the processing of his or her ID card, which will be delivered by PhilPost to their respective addresses.
As of the moment, employers ang ang principals ang dapat one of the costs of hiring an OFW is yung ID kasi benefit naman to ng ng OFW, so dapat saluhin ng employer niya.
DOLE targets to provide ID cards to more than 6 million OFWs. Hill is among those who would benefit from the new system. He has been a seafarer for more than 20 years now. Hill believes the new system would help in the faster processing of documents of OFWs.
So far sa ngayon, wala namang problema dahil computerized na tayo eh. Makikita mo lang doon sa website na ganun-ganun kung talagang registered sa POA.
Ryan has been working in the kitchen of a ship. Ryan says he can save more time and avail for a number of privileges with the ID card.
Malaking tulong yun kasi, di ba, imbis na mag-asikaso pa sila ng kung ano, di ba? Just present the ID, tapos may mga privilege na naman sila makukuha, mas pabor sa mga OFW.
An ID card will serve as a proof that the documents of an OFW are legally processed by POEA. Along with the Overseas Employment Certificate, it will also serve as a travel exit clearance and is valid for up to 2 years. Likewise, an OFW with an ID card will no longer need to pay for travel tax and terminal fee. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A son has helped his mother's wish turn into reality through UNTV's Munting Pangarap. Joanano will tell us why.
Kuya Daniel Razon's program Munting Pangarap has granted the wish of a grandmother from Cavite who asked for a sewing machine to help her earn for her family. Lita Guerrero stands as the breadwinner for her family. Her husband couldn't work anymore after being diagnosed with emphysema.
Ito pong hanap buhay ko ngayon, ay matagal na po ito. Kasi po dati, di ba, nagdodormat ako. Yung malalaking party noon, yung pinakadulo na, yung pwede lang gawing ipansalansan, itatabi ko yun. Pag nakaipon ako, isasalansan ko. Pag nakaisang bundle kami, ipapabenta ko na yun. Binibili po yung 10 piso, yun akin ang tela.
Lita sleeps only for about 3 hours a day because she needs to meet a certain volume of mats.
Ngayon po, bago ako matulog, kailangang magsalansan ako ng 3 bundle. Hindi po pwedeng isipin yung pahinga. Di pag nagpahinga po ako, di pahinga din kami lahat sa pagkain. Naghahanap pa nga ako ng ekstrang labada kahit 65 na ako
Through his son Aris, Lita now has sewing machine courtesy of UNTV's Munting Pangarap. Aside from the sewing machine, the program also gave the Guerreros a sack of rice and some grocery items and livelihood fund from brother Eli Soriano.
Unang-una po sa Diyos. Kaya Daniel, maraming salamat po. Brother Eli, maraming salamat po.
Kuya Daniel, Kuya Eli po, maraming salamat po sa pinagkaloob.
John Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Coming up, the AFP Cavaliers clash with the PNP responders in UNTV Cup Executive Face-Off happening tonight in the Big Dome.
The first Wish FM YouTube channel is now back online and begins to dominate the Philippines trends list on Twitter.
Music and reef lovers head underwater for the annual Lower Keys Underwater Music Festival.
More from White News after this break. It's an intense battle between the soldiers and the police at the Araneta Coliseum. Let's find out why from Mon Hokson live. Mon?
Yes, Will. Finally, we've come to the championship game of the UNTV Cup Executive season. And the tension is building up here at the Big Dome between the AFP Cavaliers and the PNP responders. Earlier tonight, an exhibition game was held between former basketball professionals and selections from the executive teams, wherein the All-Star PBA legends won the game by 117 points. UNTV Cup have given 1 million pesos donation as assistance to former basketball professionals who are under medication. Among those who played the exhibition game tonight were Vince Hizon, Alan Kaidig, and Alvin Patrimonio, to name a few. Meanwhile, the heat is on between the AFP Cavaliers and the PNP responders for the championship in the off-season game. Whoever bags the trophy, both teams will take home cash prize for the chosen charities. The winning team will receive 1 million pesos, while the runner-up will receive 500,000 pesos. Meanwhile, for securing the third spot, the DOJ Justice Boosters have received 250,000 pesos. Fourth placer, Judiciary Magis, have received 200,000 pesos, while the fifth and sixth placers, Senate Sentinels and BOC Transformers, have already received 100,000 pesos respectively. Real supporters of each team are roaring with excitement here at the Big Dome, hoping and praying that their team will win. And that's the latest here at the Big Dome. Back to you, Will.
Thank you very much, Mon Hokson, live from the smart Araneta Coliseum.
A composition of a singer-songwriter from Pangasinan advances in the July monthly elimination of ASOP TV Year 6. Leslie Longbowen will tell us why.
Jessan, gusto ko yung melody. It's very light. It uplifts the soul. Gusto ko yung comparisons na ginagamit mo.
I think this is a very strong song. When you're able to treat those minor wounds dito sa kanta mo, this is a very healthy song. Talagang panlaban to.
These were the comments that the song You're All I Need received from judges that made it the second winning entry for the month of July in a Song of Praise Music Festival on TV. Judge Junji Marcelo even has commended the composer Jessan May Mirador for collaborating with other artists in presenting her piece.
Maganda yon. Restraint is good. Kasi, magandang ibinapaubaya din sa iba. Minsan collaboration is good. So I commend you for that.
Jessan, a nurse from Pangasinan, says she is surprised that her song made it this far.
Grabe, sobrang saya ko po. Kasi hindi ko talaga in-expect na makukuha sa screening yung pinasa kong kanta. Kasi yung kantang yung sinulat ko pa since last year. And mabilis ko lang pong nasulat yung kanta, siguro mga 15 minutes, and galing talaga siya sa puso.
Meanwhile, the song's interpreter, She Esparago, strongly believes that Jessan is one tough contender in this season of ASOP Music Festival.
Nagkaroon ng laban yung song ni Jessan. Nagkaroon ng confidence. Sabi ko nga sa kanya, ang lakas ng laban ng song mo.
Lord, you are great. I'm amazed by your grace. You have shown me what's like avail. Oh, Lord, you're all I need.
Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Wish fans have a great reason to celebrate as the hashtag Wish1075 topped Twitter's Philippines trends list. Leslie Longbowen is back to tell us why.
1075.
Many netizens were elated and excited with the return of the first Wish1075 YouTube channel. Yesterday, the hashtag Wish1075YT is back topped the Philippines trends list of Twitter. Among those who sent their warm welcome is Filipino artist Team Pavino. John Lester Villegas says Wish has always been number one. Cynthia Brule, a proud wisher from Ireland, also expressed support for Wish FM. Twitter user Moymoy Palaboy says he feels Wish's presence everywhere as many listen to it even in public places and the internet. Wisher Sai says the concept and objective of the FM station is truly admirable. Wish1075 is the first FM YouTube channel in the country that got 1 million subscribers. On it are Wish-exclusive performances of local and international artists inside the Wish1075 bus, which has gained popularity among netizens.
I'd like to invite all the radio listeners and all our wishers na patuloy po nilang suportahan ang Wish 1075 at gaya nga na sinasabi ng ating mga jocks, keep it locked here on Wish 1075.
Wish 1075.
Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
And before we end tonight, of course, the UNTV Cup's happening right now.
Yes, it's very exciting, right, Diego? Because it was really a very strong game.
Yeah, I've been watching on the monitor. And of course, it's a birthday of a very special person in UNTV.
Yes, happy birthday to our assistant news manager, Mr. Jun Soriao.
Yes, happy birthday, Kuya Jun.
18th birthday.
No.
Those are the reasons behind the news, July 10, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Why
News.